Welcome to the Orange Hammer Podcast. My name is Corbett Storick. I've been a licensed general contractor for 8+ years, specializing in new construction, renovation, furniture building. I'm the son of an architect and an interior designer, and I've been surrounded in this industry since birth, watching all aspects from concept, design, build, punch list, and of course, all the problems that come up in between. In my time in Durham, North Carolina, I've noticed a significant gap in knowledge between homeowners who need work and the people who do the work. On this podcast, I hope to break down the process of homeownership from the perspective of both the homeowner and the contractor in an effort to help raise the knowledge of homeowners about their homes and the construction/renovation process. I hope you enjoy. If you're enjoying the Orange Hammer Podcast, or if you have a topic that you want covered, or have recently done a project, please contact the Orange Hammer Podcast. The Orange Hammer Podcast is on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and subscribe, share on whatever platform you're enjoying your podcast on. Also, check out our YouTube channel, The Orange Hammer. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by CRS Contracting LLC for all your construction and handyman needs, new buildings to renovations, furniture building, EV charger install, or even a TV mounted. You can call me, Corbett Storick. It'd be my pleasure to help you. You can find me on Instagram at CRS Contracting. WSDG, the Walter Storick Design Group, specialists in architectural and acoustical consulting. Check out WSDG.com. And Taylor Bragg, for all your artistic needs in all mediums. You can find her on Instagram at brag_about_art. That's brag, BRGG, with 2 G's. She's the fantastic artist behind the Orange Hammer logo, and she did my fantastic table painting of my podcasting table. Here we are, episode 39. Amanda Jordan, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for this delicious coffee. We should shout out Nora Cafe in North Raleigh. This is particularly good. I can't deny.
It's fantastic. Just 110 degrees in your hand. That's all.
That's okay. It's 111 degrees outside, so I'm trying to outdo it. Yeah, I think you're the second podcast guest to bring me something, even though it's a coffee. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Oh.
Especially this early in the morning. Even though it's 11, it's still you need that extra boost.
I mean, do you? I don't know. I've been up since 6, so I don't.
5:30.
I don't know. 5:30. You had to one up me. Okay.
Did, just that time.
Just that time. Okay. What are you doing at 5:30?
Getting the kids ready for school.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I don't have those. I just wake up to go pee.
Hey, that's important.
That is important. Some would say equally,
exactly.
But, maybe not.
Yeah, you probably don't want to lay in bed for that. So
no, not a good move to just lay in bed. I don't know about you, but I've just tried to force myself to sleep through the need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that does not
It's
happen.
not possible.
No.
I've always been no, I'm too comfortable. I'm just going to ignore it. I need 20 more minutes. It's good luck with that 20 more minutes. There's no way.
Especially when it hits you about 1 a.m.
Oh,
that's that time.
That's tough. I am pretty lucky that I don't know the last time that's happened.
That's good.
Yeah, normally it's I feel like it's 1 a.m., but then I look at my phone and it's it's 6:12. Well, I'm not going to go back to bed till 7, so I just get up and make coffee slower and make greens slower and lollygag to the gym room. But so before we started recording, you said something that was awesome, and I definitely want to get it on the air, that you're just, for lack of a better term, you're the master networker.
Yeah, I love networking.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I love connecting people because everybody has a story to tell. And sometimes you're in a room and they're very quiet and maybe they don't like putting themselves out there. So by meeting that person, I'm able to put them out there to help them grow their business or anything of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a introvert and an entrepreneur are hard things to do if you hard combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, because being an entrepreneur in any field, it takes putting yourself out there, as you put very, very well. So the networking events, which I believe there's one this evening, right?
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah. unfortunately, people listening, this is not live when you hear it, but what's the the sponsoree of the network, or how do people find these events?
Yeah, so about a year ago, myself, Rich Rankin, and Philip Carter said the need to grow business in Franklinton, North Carolina, and it's so small over there. So we started talking to the local business owners in Franklinton, and each month one sponsors us. So today it's at the Slammer in Franklinton, and they provide food, they do drink specials, and once we started growing it, it was just amazing the amount of people. So last month, I think we had about 70 to 75 people, and they all just want the same thing, which is really awesome to have like-minded individuals get together to make themselves better and make other people better.
And is there like a type of business you have to be, or you just have to simply be a small business owner?
No, I mean, if you are in the banking world, if you're coastal and you want to come join because you need to meet more mortgage lenders, then that's a great place for you to be. That's the cool thing about it, is you don't necessarily have to be a small business owner or a solopreneur. You can just be wanting to grow your network of people.
That's very cool. Yeah, I like how it's just kind of completely open to everybody who, as long as you're just in this Venn diagram of the shared goal of my network needs to grow, whatever that network may be. For me as a general contractor, there is literally nobody I don't want to meet.
Right.
Whether you're a fellow general contractor or a bank lender or everything in between. Either I could use you on a job, you could use me on a job, you might need me to work on your house, we might want to buy a house together, we might want to invest. I mean, the limits there are none in my industry, so it's like, everybody, if you own a home, everybody needs work on it at some point.
Correct.
So it's like, and you always hear the phrase, a good contractor is hard to find. It's true.
It's true.
Do you own a home?
I do.
Well,
yep.
How long have you owned a home?
3 years.
Nice. So you bought it in a very interesting time in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we bought it October 2019. So it was just before all of the craziness.
Okay. So you're right before.
Right before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this in the Franklinton?
It's in Lewisburg. So close.
Okay. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with
like
Franklinton or Lewisburg. Roughly how far from like Durham?
About an hour.
Okay. Not terribly far. Yeah. So what was the market like? Well, I don't know if you have a frame of reference for the market in the Triangle.
Kind of.
The market in the Triangle before the pandemic was still insane. Everything was flying off very quick, above asking. The pandemic somehow made it even more expensive and faster. My realtor friends, were just like, I'm so busy. It's insane. Was that Triangle specific, or was that being felt an hour outside?
I think we got lucky that it was an hour outside. Not too many people really had come out that way. Mm-hmm. The problem is once the pandemic hit, everybody started to re-question what they were really supposed to be doing with their lives, and then everybody started to go to the country. And so within that 6 months period, it just skyrocketed.
But that doesn't affect you, or you're just saying you saw that.
It doesn't affect us,
right? Because you bought your home already.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, hey, we could sell it for $100 grand, but then where do we go?
It's crazy. It almost doubled.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed in 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah. I mean, if you were solely there for a 6-month investment, point of view, you would have been like, well, this is never heard of and is never going to happen again.
Correct.
And I'm going to open a retirement fund.
Yep.
Yeah. So what kind of house did you buy?
It's just a little ranch, but it's got about 1.5 acres on it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I have 1/2 acre here, and I can't wait to build and move out to Hurdle Mills, where I'll have 11 and surrounded by even more. That's like partially mine.
I actually am lucky to have nice neighbors, but I don't like seeing them.
Right.
Like nothing against them.
No.
They're great actually. That one's quiet. We don't talk. That one we like, hey, I'm going away. Cool, I'll watch. I'm going away. Cool, you watch. Like take the cans in. I'm gone this week. No problem. But like I would much rather just not have anybody within eyesight.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But acre and a half, you probably still see your neighbors.
Yeah, they're still pretty close.
Yeah. Okay.
They're quiet, which is nice, but it's still close.
So, just doubling back a little bit to the networking. What's like the name? Like, if somebody wanted to find these events, how would they do that? I think I found you on Facebook and just the people you may know, and then you were like, "Hey, by the way, I run this networking group event thing," and I was like, "That's amazing," and I'm in it, but I don't even remember the name.
Yeah, so it's Rap Networking.
Okay, Rap Networking. So were you involved in that networking with Rap before you bought your house?
No.
Okay, so that leads me to the question, because I assumed if the answer was yes, that you would have, through your network, found a realtor. So how do you go about finding a North Carolina realtor without your awesome networking group that you hadn't developed yet? Do you just like Google one, or you have a family friend?
Yep, so that was a family friend that we had known, but I will say that I wish I would have done it through networking, because our realtor was great, but now knowing what I know about business relationships, I think she could have put forth more effort into that. Mm-hmm. I think at that time it was just like, let's get them in, let's get them out, and no really personal, relationship, rapport. And so I have some really great realtors now that I would love, and I do love to refer my friends and family to, because I know that they're going to be taken care of. Like you said, it's hard to find a good GC, but on the other hand, it's also good to find other trades. Communication for people is really difficult now that cell phones and technology are out. And so I think in the networking, to really build that, like, oh, I can talk to you, we can have a conversation, instead of, here, I'll send you an email and get back to you later.
Yeah. That can be that email get back to you later is almost like a spam.
Right.
Or it feels like a spam, I should say. It's not a spam, but it's like that cover letter vibe, yes. That like form letter-esque vibe is like, it doesn't really do it anymore.
No.
In fact, I find myself sometimes like, I'll get sucked into, say, for example, like an Instagram ad, and it'll be like, hey, click here, give us your email, and someone will hit you back. And I'm like, cool. If I actually get, a phone call from John Doe or Jane Doe who works for this company, and we can have a real conversation, like, that's cool. But most of the time, I'll just get like a very stock form email, because it's an AI that's been set. It's a program that they have, and I'm not even shitting on this example of a company for doing that. Like, it probably generates a lot of leads, or Absolutely. They wouldn't waste the money continuing to do it. But for me personally, they instantly lose me.
Yep.
But I am literally in the business of building relationships, because I compare myself to fellow honest general contractors. We're the same.
Yes.
Like, we have subs. We all do the same stuff. Like, drywall's drywall. Like, it goes up with screws or nails, and you mud it and whatever. But but my relationship to you, and how like accurate the job will run, and how smooth the job will run, and especially the communication when stuff goes wrong.
Yes.
That's where I stand out. And I've had Chris Overcash, who was a client who I'm not friends with. We only have a he hired me relationship, and he was like on air reminding me, like, yeah, every time there was a problem, you were like calling me within 10 minutes, like, hey, it's going to be 2 days delayed, but I wanted to let you know, or this happened, we're fixing it, or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's how it should be. And he was like, yeah, but that's not the norm.
It's not.
I was like, well, that should be the norm. It doesn't, half the time it's not even my fault. It's just the nature of the business. But to not tell you doesn't help anybody.
Right.
Like, just keep him in the loop. He pays you.
Right.
Just keep him in the loop.
Right.
Like, it's not, like, a reasonable human is not going to blame you for telling them a delivery is delayed, that you ordered on time and it's delayed. The truck blew out a tire. It'll be here 2 days later. Okay.
Yep.
You know, shit happens.
Absolutely.
But like to just be like, oh, I don't know, I ordered it. Oh, it should be here. It's not there. It didn't show up. Oh, I have no idea. Like that doesn't.
No.
It doesn't help. Yeah. So, is the rap networking like your full-time gig?
Nope. So I also am the sales manager / owner of Red22 Carpentry as well. So my husband is in the field. He does all of the woodworking, and I am the back end marketer, people builder, that type of thing.
Okay. So Red and Carpentry. Okay. So so you guys are builders basically. Do you have a GC license?
We're not GC.
Okay.
So we specialize mostly in decks.
Okay.
Building decks, anything wood, small trim work. We would be subs for
Gotcha.
you, essentially.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Understood. Gotcha. Okay. So like finished carpentry, like in like baseboards, setting cabinets,
yep.
trimming out windows,
Yep.
like you said, decks,
Building furniture, decks.
building furniture.
Yep.
Okay. What about like fencing if it's wood?
Fence. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You said building furniture?
Yeah. So some Adirondack chairs or tables. He's really pushing to get into the custom furniture, wood and epoxy and resin and all of that fun stuff.
That's epoxy.
I know. I saw that earlier.
I'll show you afterwards. I can show you my wood shop because I'm a custom furniture maker as
Cool.
well. We're
Okay.
far enough apart. We don't have to be, competitors.
Co-opetition.
There you go. I like that, actually. Yeah.
I stole it from somebody.
Well, no, see, what's perfect is I don't want to do Adirondack stuff. I'll do my farm tables, and he could do Adirondack, and we coexist. No problem.
See, that's perfect.
Exactly. I'll send people to him or you guys.
Right.
Y'all.
Y'all.
Y'all. Sorry, I'm from New York.
So am I. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I used to say that, though, up there. Everybody assumed
Isn't that weird?
I picked it up here.
Yeah, same.
And I was like, I've been saying y'all since I was like 6 years old. Yeah. What part of New York?
Upstate, about 45 minutes from Niagara Falls.
Okay, actually upstate.
Upstate.
Yeah, because I've been saying upstate my whole life, and it's a lie. I'm from Poughkeepsie, basically.
Oh, yeah, you're not
I'm
from
like,
upstate.
well, I'm from Highland across the river, but like, basically, depending on where you live, you get a different definition.
Yeah.
Because like for me, it's like, are you in the city or are you upstate?
Technically, I'm from Western New York, as most would say.
Yeah. I did go to school though, closer, I guess, in Oneonta.
Okay.
Like way more snow, Western Mountains, and we had our first snow day in like 12 years while I was there freshman year because they're just so good at handling it.
Yeah.
And then we got 3.5 feet of snow overnight, and they were like, well, it's Sunday and there's no one there to plow it, and it's not going to get plowed Monday morning, and it didn't get plowed by Tuesday. So we had like this. It was really cool.
It is really cool, and it's not normal.
No. And especially like they know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So they were like, no, we get a foot of snow that you expect to go to class.
Yep.
Unless like your professor emails you and he's like, I drive 45 minutes and I can't get out of my driveway. That's different. But I guess today that would never even happen because now with like the Zoom teaching and everything, I bet the teacher wouldn't even bother, the professor, excuse me. I could imagine Professor Venero from like my third year college marketing class just being like, I'm not even putting on pants. I've got pajamas, get on Zoom, 8:15 class. Like,
It's crazy. The world doesn't stop now.
No. The world doesn't stop. Yeah. I noticed that real hard last November when I got foot surgery. And basically, I stopped for 8 weeks and nothing else did.
Yeah.
It was, you just watched go out the
It's
window.
nuts. At least you were able to rest, hopefully, a little bit, and you didn't feel like you were, having FOMO out there.
I didn't really feel like I was having FOMO. I was just like, I didn't get upset till I tried to go back in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to like seriously drop
That's rough.
all the numbers.
Yeah.
And like halfway through my like first workout, so it's like 8 weeks later, and I have the numbers still written on the whiteboard. I'm like, I'll just try them again. Huge mistake. Couldn't even do half the workout. Quit halfway, cried, threw my like weightlifting gloves on the ground, like went and like took a shower, and my girlfriend was like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm really not okay, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like,
Yeah.
I just have to work through this one, You know, my foot still hurts. I can't do anything. Like, I was just like so upset, but it's just, you know, all part of, you know, such an amazing thing though. I had, you know, I don't want to dive too much into it, but like I've had pain walking since I was like 15 and now I don't.
Oh,
so
wow. So then it was worth it.
it was definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have done it at 18. You know, when I tried once and it didn't work, I should have just tried again with a better surgeon. Instead, I was scared that because it didn't work, it couldn't work and it would never work. And, you know, thanks to Dr. Tennant over at UNC, shout out.
UNC rocks. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be very, like biased that Duke was the better, just like overall, like the name holds more weight in like the planet Earth. You know, like if you go anywhere and you're like, I studied at Duke or I did my tenure at Duke or whatever the word may be at Duke, that's like that means it's like saying Princeton,
right?
You know, but then and my sister-in-law Emma, she used to be a Duke nurse.
Okay.
In the ICU, like top level, you know, graduated top of her class from Duke Nursing School, and you know, praise for Duke. I don't have like, you know, negative connotations towards them, but then I started like. My insurance switched me over, and the more I went to the UNC people due to their covered insurance, they were like, oh, yeah, I used to work at Duke, and now I work at UNC. And I'm like, why is no one going UNC to Duke? Everyone's going Duke to UNC. And I guess it's like you go to Duke for the prestige of your resume.
I got it.
But then you go to UNC because it's like a better place to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, that stinks.
Yeah, it does.
That Duke would not be both.
Right.
Like, you already have the recognition. Just make it a better place to work. Why isn't it?
Yep.
Like, the one thing that got me every time, my sister-in-law was like, yeah, they pay me to work there. And then I got to give them like $900 for a parking pass.
It's crazy.
I was like, what did you just say?
It's so crazy.
I was like, I got a free parking pass when I went to college. You have to pay. You work there. She was like, oh, I know. I was like, this doesn't.
And I don't think they stipend that either.
No, you just have to pay or park further away or take the bus or some, I don't know what. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like, so you're telling me you're late and because you couldn't park there and they're going to yell at you for that? Like, I was like, this just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, but. Yeah. So your husband's out in the field.
Yep.
And is it just the two of you in the company?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. And
you just handle the entire like office side of things.
Yeah, we just hired a virtual assistant though, because my life needs a little less.
Is that just because of the life stress, or because the business is growing in a good way?
It's growing in a good way, and for me, so I have a business degree, and foundation I know is everything. So just making sure that we're trending in the right direction, having a solid foundation to build on in order to grow and to continue to move forward. Nice. It's really difficult right now as far as like employees and stuff go, just because either in our field, they either want to run their own business or they just don't want to work. And
yeah, I have no employees. Yeah. And I have found, despite my ability to work consistently, I do not have consistent work for an everyday grunt. Like a $25 an hour carpenter who just like shows up with his truck and his tool belt, and we're like, oh, today we're putting in a deck. Today we're hanging the shower. Today we're tiling. It's like, I just don't have. So my way is I do everything I can do solo, and then I just have amazing subcontractors.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
And also hard to find.
Yeah, they are. It's been some trial and error. There's no doubt about that. You know, my first HVAC people, I honestly can't remember their name, but if I did, I would say their name only to curse them. Like, they were the worst. They borderline robbed me. Jeez. And they did not do like something. They did something completely wrong and against code, and it took me 2 years to figure out the problem that they caused me, and I had to like cut back into the sheetrock in between tenants and vent something out of the house that was just vented into the attic, just dumping moisture-filled air, causing mold, destroying insulation. Like, but anyway, you know, I had no idea though, because I was green to the industry. So I was like, these guys are reputable, 5-star, Google. That's what everybody says. They just Google. Like, that's why I don't, you know, everybody more or less says either it's my network, it's my friend, which is a network, or I Googled them. And like, yes, Google is amazing. And for the most part, 500 5-star reviews is a great sign. But there's also a chance that you're going to get a lemon project, the lemon time, whatever it might be. Like there's nothing's guaranteed
100%.
to be like perfect. And then I'm nudging him to convince him to come on the podcast, but my like dad number 2 in the area is like my real dad's like very good friend of similar age who is basically me without a license.
Okay.
Like it's legal. He has the homeowners get their own permits, but he just has an amazing network of subs.
Yeah.
When I've come to the time where I'm like, ooh, I don't have somebody for that. I'll just like call him up and he's like, oh yeah, I got Jose and Julio. You want their number? Oh yeah, I'd love their number. Like, you know, and then other times I just call Jim and I'm like, no, you run it. Like you like, I don't need Ray's. I don't need your foundation guy. I need you do it. Like put $500 in there for yourself and you run, and you in charge of them. Like make it bomb proof.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
and
important.
It's just like, it's just easier. Sometimes I don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
And to be frank, like I know 85% about foundations, but I don't know the last 15 and he does. And that's the difference. And it's like, I know that if Jim's guy, Ray, who knows exactly what he's doing, screws up accidentally, there's not even a debate. I call Jim, he goes, he looks, he says, oh yeah, that's wrong. He calls Ray, fix it. No, end of conversation. Yep. And like that is worth that little bit of extra money to just be like, I need this flawless. I don't want to nitpick it with you. I don't want you. I can also give him a little bit more free reign because he's like basically family.
Right.
So like when he comes across a problem, he doesn't like necessarily have to text me. You know, he could tell me after the fact, like, oh yeah, we came across this. I had to go buy another thing of waterproofer and, you know, it took 2 extra hours and blah. And that's like why it's $200 in the bill. Like any other one of my subs, they're calling me before to get that approval. And I might go out there and look. But with Jim, I'm just like, okay, I would like, you needed 4 extra feet of pipe to make this run. Go buy the pipe. Send me the bill. Like, what am I going to tell you? No,
right.
Don't put in the pipe around the foundation drain. Just leave a sec. Like, so there's, but you know, I think you detailed that shortly and more accurately than me rambling. Is like, it's just about that relationship that like you didn't feel with your real estate agent that you mentioned. So. What didn't you feel? Because you kind of said that they did a really good job of like the house part. Was it just like building a relationship of like how are your kids and whatever?
Yeah, so the process went well, went smoothly. Like she answered all the questions, responded in, you know, prompt time. Like there was nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
So I've been in customer service since I can remember. And I've always even taught like my employees that I had managed, treat them like you would treat your favorite person, whether that's an actor, your grandma, your grandpa, whatever. And I didn't feel that was there. And so maybe I hold higher expectations for that, but I think it's really important when growing your business. And I think so much we forget that we want the honesty, we want the rawness, you know, like we started watching reality TV for a reason because quote unquote, it was real. But I really think people want that relationship of raw, of truth, of honesty. And I think that we fake it until we make it too much instead of building that. And I just think that if she would have given me just a little bit more of herself in that, it would have made that experience better.
Okay. And that whatever percentage you weigh that at, let's call it 10%, that 10% is that the difference between you not versus you recommending her?
Yeah, I definitely think so. So I'm also in Business Networking International, or BNI. It's another networking group. They're a seat specific group. And the realtor.
What's that mean?
Seat specific. So there's only one GC. There's only one realtor. There's only one financial advisor. And we build those relationships to make sure we can be like, okay, I can refer to this person because I know they're going to follow up. I know they're going to call back, instead of just being like, oh, well, you can reach out to this person, but I don't really know what that looks like, to get back. And the realtor in our group, she is amazing. Like, shout out to Carolyn Nord with Keller Williams, because I see her follow up. I see the one day she had a moving company for one of her clients, and they canceled on them last minute. And it just so happened to be that I knew some people, and my husband had went out and helped move them. But she was there too. And I've never seen a realtor like put that much effort into something for a client. Because again, my experience was, here's a process. We're going to get this done. You need to do this. And then sign the papers. Here's your keys. Have a good day.
It's kind of funny that the story that you're telling, because it couldn't be further from the opposite. Because like, similar to what I said about how, like, if you compare an honest GC to an honest GC, they're kind of the same. If you realtors basically do the same thing also, and they don't even have a product. The product already exists. So if you're not setting yourself apart with some sort of notable personality or notable extra effort or whatever it may be, then what are you even doing in that industry? Yep. Like, I have had Stacy Sloan's a family friend, been on the podcast more than once, and she is. I was about to say basically, she just is our family real estate agent in North Carolina. But I don't even know. Oh, I'm now remembering how we met her. My brother moved here first.
Okay.
Like almost 15 years ago, I feel, or maybe even more. I'm not even sure. Time melds together. And he found her through, I don't even remember how. And because of that, it was only, 4 years later when I move here and I start looking at houses, he's like, oh, well, just call Stacy. She was so good. And I don't remember exactly like why she was so good or what exactly stood out. But when my older brother, who is basically my go-to for advice, the younger I am especially, he was just like, call Stacy, she's great. She was literally perfect. I remember one day specifically in, 100 degree heat. She drove me and my girlfriend at the time, this is like 9 years ago or whatever, to 31 houses in a day.
Dang.
Yeah. 31 of them. And we would just pull up and we'd be like, nope, next. Or pull up and go, yeah, worth going in. Like, bang, 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 this, that, and the third, one after the next. But she did that. She in her car.
And that makes a huge difference.
Makes a huge difference, because I probably would not have hit them all. All of those were a bust, strangely enough. And then, like, a week later, when I had borderline given up, my parents had come into town to visit. And then Stacy called me and was like, hey, I just sent you an email. This came on the market today. And I was like, okay. My parents happen to be here. Can we all just meet you? She's like, yeah, so we go over there in an hour, and it was this house.
That's awesome.
And like literally my brother's with me. We must have been like going out in Durham somewhere. And so like all four of us show up, and we're like, my dad's in the crawl space, my brother's in the attic. We're all like looking at each other. Anybody see something wrong? We're looking for something wrong. Like we're past the point of we like it. What's wrong? And we're like, I can't find anything. Can you find anything? No. Can you find anything? Okay. We go back the next day. All right. Who could find something wrong? And I'm just sitting there like, well, I don't like this yellow paint.
Right.
And then Stacy, after I closed, gave me a $50 Visa gift card to go buy some paint.
That's huge.
Yeah. Didn't have to do. We already closed.
Yeah. She didn't have to do that.
Yeah. And it's the gray paint you see. I painted it myself. It was school bus yellow. It was.
That's rough.
It was so bad. Yeah. I think if you type in this address, you can like still find the listing from like the one that I would have seen that shows like the yellow walls. It's tough. That's all I can say. It's tough.
You had to be optimistic to come and look at it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this house now, and it's not even the same
great.
house.
Yeah.
I mean, the island was not there. I put that in. There was a closet, blocking off the whole kitchen. Like
Jeez.
it was terrible. Yeah, but we do what we do. Have perfect segue into you and I'm assuming you and your husband bought the house together?
Yeah.
Have you guys done any work to it?
Yep. So we added a little mudroom on
Nice.
and a new deck.
I wonder who built the deck.
I don't. So previously, I have no idea. We had
No, I meant the new one.
Well, yeah,
I was joking.
but it's funny because when we tore it apart, it was during COVID when we had nothing else to do, and it was put together with finishing nails. So I'm really glad we tore it apart because it probably wouldn't have held too many people for much longer.
Yeah, but also, didn't you decide to do that when lumber was like 11 times more expensive?
It was right before that.
Oh,
yeah.
it was right before
yeah,
that.
It was right
Wow,
before
your
that.
timing
yeah,
is
it was
really
like pretty
good.
good timing.
Yeah. So my partners are my parents and my brother. We
Okay.
buy these houses, we gut them, we turn them into new houses, and then we rent them out. And this last house, my mom, which has been only built during COVID, my mom who kind of handles the book, not kind of, my mom who handles the books, shout out to Beth, who's been on the podcast. She was like, this new house is costing a little bit more than it should. And I was like, about how much more? And she was like, I haven't really checked, but I would say about 15 to 20%. And I was like, did you account for the 20% increase in materials across the board? And she just went, oh. And I was like, da-da! Like, that's literally, like, they all cost about the same. We've been using the same subs on these basically same-sized houses for eternity since we started this business here. And my parents are architects and designers. They've been doing this since before I was born. So they're not, like, new to construction world and designing and this kind of stuff. And I was like, if the only difference is basically the 20% increase in materials across the board, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Like, nor can anybody really blame anybody. Like, the sheetrocker didn't charge me a lot of labor, but he still had to go buy all that sheetrock. Like, we can't not put it up, So it was just like one of those things where it was kind of like, she was like prepared to have a conversation and then immediately was like, oh, right. Next.
Yeah, we had done a lot of decks at that point because it was almost the same. It was pretty much the same price.
Yeah, honestly, even if it's more, I don't know. You shouldn't even be allowed to build decks not out of that stuff.
Yeah, it makes
not
a
out
huge
of engineered.
difference.
Yeah, and now I'm seeing. I follow the Wood Bully on Instagram, and he's like, probably similar to your husband. He's just like an amazing carpenter, builder, but he's like, for the personality of the show, of the gimmick, he's like a jerk on purpose.
Yeah,
so he's always like, hey, Brian, pay attention, the guy holding the camera. But I just saw now that he's using, I'm going to screw up the name, but for description for people listening, basically Trek, but they're making the structure now.
Oh.
Yeah. So and because of that, it's like kind of the same Trek board. It's obviously thicker than the Trek board that goes on top, but it's like that kind of material. And then it's wrapped in something that's basically like a plastic.
Okay.
And he was showing me as he's walking on it, he's like, and it's so strong, we're now doing Trek decking 24 on center, which most people do 16 or even 12 because of how flimsy the decking is. As some people listening are like, that was German. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But when I saw the deck framed, I was like, 24 on center with decking. And then he immediately was like, and it is strong, and you don't have to use any deck tape because it's just all composite waterproof. So no deck tape and less material. 24 on center. That's
huge.
So like, it's probably not a zero sum, but less material. If it's more expensive, it's not insane.
Right.
And that was just like, I was surprised to see it only because it's so soon. I always knew when I first saw Trek, not decks, but my parents, when I was very young, and they redid a deck and they put Trek on top. And not even deck tape, because it's before we knew, or the joist tape,
Yep.
And I just kind of like, as a 12-year-old, helping the carpenters screw in the little clip things that hold the deck boards, I was like, why isn't the stuff underneath made out of this. Like, this is impossible to rot.
Yeah.
It's hard to nail. It's hard to screw. It's hard to cut. This is like the original stuff where even like the finish gun would jam when you try to nail the fascia up. And I was just thinking, like, why isn't everything underneath built out of this material? And obviously it didn't exist yet, or it just wasn't strong enough, but now it has come out, and it's just like, you know, for people who are wondering kind of like what the hell I'm talking about, like, it's made out of basically sawdust, glue, high heat compression mold, color dye, and then they kind of groove it to look like a wood board that's been stained and painted. And the only time that you can really tell is when you cut it and look at the cut end. So if you lay down the deck boards and then put fascia over the cut ends, you simply would just never know. And it's not an exaggeration when I say, like, it will outlast everything else in your home. Like, the concrete footer will get eroded by water and the frame will fall apart, but that decking will just stay in a pile of collapsed, unrotted decking, only to be color faded slightly by the sun. That's like all that happens. So it's worth every penny, and match the screws color and the little plugs. I mean, it's
you can have so much fun with the colors too. I think that's the best part, is just like, well, what colors do you want? Yeah.
Now there's so many options because there's a lot of competitors. Like, I think Trek is exclusive at Lowe's, but there's a competing company at Home Depot.
Yeah, and I can't remember what their name is.
I think it's Timber Tech, or I honestly don't even know, and it's irrelevant. Like, they're all the same, they're similarly priced, and they all have the same warranties.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, and you can't pressure wash any of them, FYI. Like, you will rip into it and destroy it. You got to like buy their special cleaner and be like gentle with a hose and a brush. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I learned that the hard way on a customer's deck, and then I had to order like one piece of Trek to cut out and replace. I was like, well, we're not doing that again. Like, no way.
Lessons learned the hard way are rough sometimes.
Yeah, though they are the most lasting, I feel.
100%.
The ones that stick with me the most. Yeah. My screw ups in California were like so big and lasting in my brain. I was like, oh, I'm never doing that kind of job again. Nope. You want me to waterproof that? Sorry. Call a professional. Yeah. But I had no other work at the time at 22. I was like, yeah, I could do that. Didn't know what I was doing at all. So how do you and your husband decide that you want to open up your own company? Because that's an adventurous, risky maneuver, rather than just like him working for the equivalent of him as like an hourly person.
Yeah, so before COVID, he was working for a couple GCs, and he was miserable because they just weren't on the same page. The things that the GCs were doing, he did not agree with, and it was just a really big struggle on, this is not ethical, I do not agree with these things.
Do you have some examples?
Gosh, off the top of my head, they would cut corners on things that he didn't feel that corners should be cut to save money or to save time, and he's very much one by the book, do the work, do it right, regardless of what it takes. And
charge accordingly.
Correct.
No, people who tell me that they can't wait to get into a new construction home in 2023. I'm like, that
scary.
Sounds way worse to me than a 100-year-old farmhouse.
Yeah.
I would rather be in a 100-year-old farmhouse than anything built post 2022.
He talks about that all the time. Yeah. He's like, in 10 years, we're not gonna have enough carpenters or handy people or anything like that because there's gonna be so much work. But he had got laid off during COVID, and some friends needed decks, and so he's like, okay, well, I don't have anything else to do. And I was working for an eye doctor at the time, running a few of their offices, and so I was like, well, we have the income. What do we have to lose? Like, nothing. World's standing still right now. And
so you kind of always had, you mentioned the business degree.
Yeah.
Which I have a business degree, but it did not really help me start my business. It was more of an excuse to just party in college, which I'm sure you're going to be like, I didn't party at all. I was in the library. No. So you mentioned the business degree, but it sounds like you were kind of always, eye doctor, carpentry, customer service, always familiar with back office and how it should run and like the appropriate way to run. Like those skills translate
Yes.
pretty easily. I would assume, or I'm asking basically.
Yeah. So business, like growing businesses, running businesses, that stuff makes me super excited. I am actually currently looking at business coaching and life coaching because I enjoy growing people.
Very
so
cool.
it's a super fun kind of avenue that I've learned in the past year that I really enjoy. But as far as like this business, I actually have a business degree in equine management. So horse training, barn management, it has nothing to do with business in that aspect, but super fun. I went to South Dakota to go to college and to get away from New York. But it's really paid off in
So
that
you traded
aspect.
a winter hellscape for a winter hellscape.
Oh my gosh, it was the worst idea ever.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not really just less humans
Yeah, less humans, which was super nice.
for a day.
Yeah.
For a couple weeks.
It wasn't as people-y,
Yeah. I was like, that sounds good for a vacation.
It's beautiful out there if you haven't been.
You're right. I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mount
no.
Rushmore, Crazy Horse, highly recommend.
I have not been to Mount Rushmore. It would be hard for me to just not immediately try to recreate National Treasure. Just be like, where is it? There's got to be it somewhere around here. It's all true.
You should definitely do
Yeah.
it. Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, like all of those
Is
things.
that where that is?
Yeah.
I've heard of Sturgis because I used to watch American Chopper back in the day, which is in New York, not far from me.
Yes.
Most people don't know. Orange County Chopper, not Orange County, California.
Correct.
It's Orange County, New York. Newburgh, what's up? The Hood. People think Durham's rough. You have no idea. Newburgh is bad. But it's funny. My dog was found on the streets in Newburgh. So
Oh, that's funny.
my brother and I are like, people don't even know. Willie was a straight gangster, and now he just lives a lap of luxury.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's spoiled.
He is very spoiled. Oh yeah, but that's the way they should be.
But yeah, Sturgis, you gotta go. You gotta book at least. I don't even know. They were like 2 years out for all their hotels and stuff.
Oh my God, that's like trying to go to Bonnaroo. Yeah.
It's insane, but worth it. I waitressed my last year of college there for a week.
I bet the tips
tips were killer.
Insane.
It was amazing.
So is it like, I've heard that like bars and restaurants around the area of the Masters, like the big golf tournament or whatever, like I'm going to make the numbers up, but like, let's say like a pitcher of Bud is like $5 every other day. During the Masters, they're like $40.
Yeah, it's super insane expensive.
Does that happen at Sturgis?
Yeah,
where like the same bar is like,
it's-
well, Sturgis is coming, just make it 4 times the price because we know they'll pay it.
Yep. It is insane. I worked in like a neighboring town, which is, they're spread out. So 20, 30 minutes from Sturgis. And I still banked that summer. But I was told that like waitress in Sturgis for that week.
Like the 30 minutes, like actual there.
Like actual there, make car payments for the year. Yeah, it's an insane amount of money.
Whoa.
Because most of them are lawyers, doctors, they come and play biker for the week.
Right.
And,
I guess you have to have, I guess you are either, there's probably not a lot of the middle ground. There's either like the actual biker.
Yeah.
Or the pretend who's got enough money to play biker.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. There's not a lot of like middle ground there.
But it's
like,
super awesome. I like the experience itself.
No, I did.
Really
For the
cool.
record, I didn't mean that in any negative connotation. I actually love this show, Sons of Anarchy. I don't believe they're that bad. Just don't get into the gun running business.
Don't piss them off.
Yeah, don't piss. If you see a guy with a cut and a bike, just don't anger him.
Yeah.
Just wave, say nice bike,
Yeah.
walk away.
They're the best.
Yeah, I saw one in San Diego, and I was like, half of me was like, what are you doing here at this Little League game? But then I also was like, what am I doing here at this Little League game? My girlfriend and I had nothing better to do, and we were driving through this really nice park, and I was like, ooh, baseball, because that's where my brain goes. She was like, let's go watch. 30 minutes later, and this dude, I mean, straight out of the Sons of Anarchy. He had the cut. it said, Juarez, Mexico, which is just over San Diego border, obviously. And he, the bike was huge, and the beard and the jeans and the chain wallet, and sitting next to, I'm assuming, his baby mama, who's they're watching, I don't know whose kid, but it was just like, I was like, if 3 more bikers show up and they have a meeting over by that bathroom, I'm in an episode of Son of Anarchy. Like, I literally, Jax is about to roll up around the corner. Sam Crow is going to take me out for no reason at all. I'm going to be an innocent bystander. And I'm just going to sit there with my jaw dropped like, it's a cool Harley. I wish I had one of those. Yeah. I want one, but they're so loud. Very, very annoying.
I grew up around motorcycles, and I have no desire to own one. It's the craziest thing.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So parents, grandparents, both?
My parents, my uncles.
So did they go to Sturgis?
No, they have never been to Sturgis. Yeah.
And I got to clarify, is Sturgis the event name, the town name, or both?
Both.
Okay, because I had just simply had no idea.
Sturgis is like a sneeze. You go through it and there's nothing there.
So if there's no bike rally, it's a post office.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah. Okay, It's like my town.
Yeah.
My town, I'm from Highland, New York. It's not even a town. It's called the Hamlet of Highland in the town of Lloyd. Like the cop cars say Lloyd. Everyone's like, where the hell is Lloyd? You're in Lloyd. It's not really anything. Yeah. But we don't even have a Sturgis-like event. So it's just, my town is a sneeze. Yeah. It's just a sneeze. Yeah. So I get that vibe 100%. But I know Sturgis just from, like I said, from the American Chopper
it's
show.
Super cool.
Yeah. Well, that's sweet. So if anybody wanted to get in touch with you and your husband's carpentry company, how would they contact y'all?
So probably Facebook would be the best, Red22 Carpentry, or you can friend request me, Amanda Jordan. Either way, send me a message. I'm completely open. Would love to talk to you.
You guys have a website?
Not yet.
Okay. See, I don't have a website, and I'm very torn between the need. I had a meeting with like a marketing person. They gave me like a free hour, and they were like, for the level you're at, really the next step is a website, but the website is not really a website. It's really just a collection of keywords and phrases that'll get Google searched. And it's just like, they want like $18,000 to create this thing for me. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's in the like yearly operating budget. Yeah. Like, I just don't, and of course they then go to tell me like, it's, you might not you might not notice anything for 6 months or something. And I'm just like I'm torn.
I feel that. I'm torn too.
Yeah. It's like, that's the difference though between, we're never going to come up on the Google search.
100%.
Like, our network is our entire like vibe.
But see, I'd rather have that. I'd rather have a personal referral than a Facebook or Google referral.
I don't think anybody on the planet would disagree with you, but hypothetically, correct, you haven't worked for 3 months. Right. You would really love if somebody Googled
absolutely
deck carpenter and you were one of the top 3, just like if somebody Googled kitchen remodel, I would love for CRS contracting to pop up, but it simply is never going to pop up. And so like, that's the difference, is like, well, if you want to show up with that Google search, there isn't really a redirect. You have to have a website that's linked to your Google business page that has like at least 5 reviews and like all of these things. And it's just like, I just don't know.
It's the next step.
Yeah, it's the next step, but it's again, it's like I don't know. I guess I'm still weighing the pros and cons of like spending that money versus how much it'll actually bring in.
Right.
And it sounds like you guys are also weighing that.
And I think that's hard to read sometimes too. Like, they have a lot of trackers and markers, but I still think it's not as accurate as
it's not. She said right to my face, she was like, we kind of are best guessing with our industry knowledge, which is not nothing, but they were even like, it's kind of like the stock market. It's like, you use the data in the most intelligent way you can to make the best guess.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like the flu. It's like the flu vaccine. They use the last 100 years of flu data to be like, well, we think the next strain is this one. Yep. So we guess and we give, and it's like most of the time they're right, or it helps either way, or what. I don't actually know how vaccines work, but I get the flu shot. I know that much. So it's definitely a double-edged sword, or a two-sided coin, or whatever the expression you want to use, that I'm still, or it sounds like we're still contemplating. Are you guys busy?
Yeah,
Nice.
we're busy. Between networking and I have some really awesome business referral partners that shout us out on the Facebook community page and things like that. And so Facebook has really been an amazing marketing tool, and I think underutilized.
Yeah.
And so because everybody goes there,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
That's what I use.
Right.
That's how I found you. And
Right.
I'm now going this evening to the networking event.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have worked out any better. I don't work in Franklinton.
That's okay.
And honestly probably won't take that
They have
many
great
jobs
drinks.
an hour away. But, there are plenty of things I can do as a GC over the internet.
Yep.
Great example for those listening. They're like, what does a GC who swings a hammer do over the internet? Well, when a realtor goes to close on a house, due diligence, they get an inspection, and they need to know, based on an inspection, what it's going to cost. I get that inspection via email.
Yeah.
They give me $100,
Yep.
and I, one item at a time, go, that's between $500 and $1,000. That's between $1,000 and $2,000. That's $8,000. That's $500. And that information is extremely valuable when they go to closing, and they have to go, well, your $500,000 house has $40,000 worth of shit we have to fix on day one.
Yep.
So do you want to give us $40,000 off, or how do you want to do this? And
Super powerful.
yeah. And I'm happy to do it. So, you never know. Like you said, I don't even think there is a harm in having a bigger, better, good network.
No. Kat that you had on?
Yeah.
She's in our BNI, so she's in our seat-specific group.
That's probably how you came up on the people you
Probably.
may know.
Yeah, because I love Kat. She's great.
She was amazing.
Yeah, she's
the
amazing.
insight. I honestly want to have her back,
You
because
should.
she
She's
kept saying,
fantastic.
I was like, well, we should have a yearly update on mortgage changes. She's like, well, they change every day, so let's just, And I was like, great, I need content, and this is fun. So
she is fantastic.
yeah, no, they were great. That was a great episode. Honestly, all my episodes have been fun, but I'm fortunate that I'm doing this out of passion.
Yeah.
So,
It makes it fun.
yeah.
Not a chore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll end it on that high note. Real quick, just shout it out again, the networking group, the RAP networking group.
RAP
you can
networking.
find it on Facebook.
On Facebook. Typically, we meet the second Thursday of every month.
Okay. We'll just get in the group, and I'm sure you guys announce the stuff.
Yeah, I'm on there all the time.
And then you said it was Red21?
Red22.
Red22
Yep.
Carpentry on Facebook as well.
Yep. Red
Okay.
standing for Remember Everyone Deployed.
Remember everyone deploy. Oh, are you guys veterans?
Aaron's a veteran. Yep.
Very cool. Aaron, thank you for your service. We appreciate you. And be nice to everybody.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me.
appreciate it. All right. Bye, everybody.